take you through right today. I'll before go ahead with anything, I'll give you the most asked questions. Yes, recording will be shared, no worries, but we would request you to stay till the end of the call. You have some the complete the XAML which we built today will be shared, and the link, everything would be given. Stay till the end. The thing's going to be exciting, and we will take you through the entire document understanding lifecycle. We're not going to leave any bit today. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be lengthy, but it would be, kind of exciting you at every step. Uh, Let me give a chance to Smith to have his intro and start off. Smith, over to you. And meanwhile, guys, you can post your questions on the chat. We would take a quite good time to look through them and answer. Yeah, Smith, can you hear us?
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Ishmeet Bindra and I am a senior RP developer working in Wunderman and Thompson. And okay, let's start with today's session. And topic of today's session is document understanding. So before we discuss agenda, let's talk about what exactly document understanding is. So document understanding essentially is a set of activities that allow us to, or allow essentially software robots to understand a particular document. It allows the robot to extract, interpret, and process the data which is available in that particular document for us. Now, document understanding can work on any given PDF, whether it is structured or unstructured, images, handwritten document, and scanned documents. Okay, so now let's talk about why do we need document understanding. So as per October 2019's Gartner report, an estimated of 25,000 hours of rework was done in finance department due to human errors. And these human errors were made mostly while processing the financial reports, which are mostly available as a scanned document or within PDFs. With the help of RPA, we can actually save up to $878,000 worth of rework that is being done every year. And document understanding is just one step towards the right direction. With the help of document understanding, we can actually ensure improvised accuracy, better customer experience, and employee satisfaction. Okay.
So Smith, I can understand now. Our robots can able to know little more about a document when they look at it. The way we look at it, I can notify this is invoice, this is credit note, this is hotel restaurant bill, kind of.
Absolutely. So earlier, what was happening was our people were like software RPA developer were basically building multiple workflows in order to incorporate each and every document and process it. And there was some question about accuracy, but with the introduction of document understanding, the process of creating a workflow for basically processing those scanned documents or those native documents have been streamlined. So the accuracy has been improvised a lot. This is happening because of the introduction of ML activities that UiPath provides, and due to that, the accuracy of like word detection or data table detection within a document has been increased by a lot.
Super. Then exciting. Let's jump there.
Okay. So let's discuss about today's agenda. So our agenda is going to be extraction of data from a particular document using Regex Extractor, Form Extractor, and ML Extractor. We are not only going to extract the data, but we are also going to use the validation station, which is provided by UiPath, in order to validate that data. As of now, we are having two types of validation station. One is present validation station, in which this can be deployed for essentially attended robots, and there will be a pop-up through which you can validate the data that was extracted by the bot. And the another one is the validation action. which means that an action will be created within orchestrator. So this validation action could be deployed in unattended ones. Okay. So let's talk about taxonomy. This is kind of the step 0 of getting to like understanding while understanding the document understanding process. What taxonomy is, the basic definition of taxonomy is the practice of classifying things. Okay, the taxonomy manager, which is available within UiPath, classifies the document into groups and categories. So, for example, if you are having multiple departments in your company, and they all of them are having different types of documents, so you can probably classify them into groups and categories. Whenever you create a taxonomy.json file is automatically saved in your in your project directory, and that particular file is essentially having the data, like exactly what we want to extract from a document. Okay, so what taxonomy provides us is it provides the what question, like what do we want to extract from a given document, the fields that we want to extract from a given document. So, and in order to install Taxonomy Manager, we have to install UiPath.intelligent OCR activities. So let's do that right now.
Smith, do we have any direction map today about our actions?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Just 1 second. Because the first step is to load taxonomy. That's why I'm firstly showing how to actually set up taxonomy.
Okay. So these are the set of activities we're going to do now, right?
Correct.
Let me
So
tell to our audience. So if consider me a layman, we're going to do something called load taxonomy, which you'll explain how to do it. Post that we go on to digitize. Then there is an extraction, present validation, export human validated, and use. So my last set is nothing but the output. Use data set for further processing.
yes.
Super. Excited.
Okay, so we will continue by installing the packages that we require for our today's session, and we are going to install intelligent OCR package. Also, we have to install document understanding package. Okay. So just hit on save and these packages will be downloaded. Intelligent OCR package gives us taxonomy. As you can see here right now, there is no taxonomy available here. With the help of intelligent OCR package, we actually get the option of taxonomy, which is now available. And document understanding package actually give us all of the extractors that we need for our further processing. Okay, so let's go back and let's see what is a generic workflow of document understanding. So in front of you is a generic workflow, and we start with loading the taxonomy that we will define soon. Then we digitize the document that we have to process. Then what we are going to do is we are going to extract the data from the document with the help of form-based extractor, regex extractor, or machine learning extractor. Then we are going to use present validation station to validate that data. Finally, whatever data that we have extracted, we need to export it in order to get proper data sets and then use that data set for for further processing.
Okay.
Okay, so let me show you the document that we are going to use today. And this is the document that we have chosen to use. And as you can see here, if I try to select anything, I won't be able to, because this is a scanned document. And what we are going to extract from this particular document is we are going to extract invoice number, we are going to extract due date, and we are going to extract total amount. Okay, so let's head back to UiPath, and our step 0 is to define the taxonomy of our document. So let's hit on taxonomy manager. You will see a new window will pop up. And this is our taxonomy manager. And here you can see that as soon as this window popped up, a taxonomy.json file got created within the project directory. We will go back and see where exactly it got created. But for now, just know that as soon as you load Taxonomy Manager, a new file will get created in your project directory, which will have all of the data related to taxonomy of that document. So the first thing that I have to do is, as you can see, I'm not having any group created as of now. So I have to create a group. So let's see what type of document it is. Clearly, it is some glass industry, invoice of glass industry. So I will go back and I will name this particular group glass industry. And I'm going to name this particular document as, or add a category of invoice. Now, what I have to do is I have to add my particular document into this category, because keep in mind, you can have multiple documents available in a single category. That's why we are going to use this particular button to add our current document. So I'm going to name this particular, let's go back to document. I can see that this document, this is the invoice of some services that we have provided. So let's name this particular document as services. And here, now what we have to do is, we have to actually provide the name of the fields that we want to extract. So I'm going to click on new field. And here, if I can do this, okay. What I'm going to do is, the first field that I want to extract is invoice. I'm going to define here invoice. And also one more thing, it is not mandatory to keep this particular name exactly same as what is written in your document, but it is always better to match the name, so that if anyone else is kind of looking at your workflow, he will be knowing that what this field exactly means. So I wrote invoice here, and I can see that invoice is of type number. So I'm going to select number here, and guys, type matters. Okay, so always try to select if the data type that you are seeing on your document is available here, try to select the correct data. Try to select that particular data type. I'm going to hit on save, and I have successfully added one field that I want to extract. Let's add rest of the fields. So second one is due date, and here it's of type date. It's quite possible that when you are defining a certain data types, it might ask you for expected format. As of now, we don't have to give any format because we will be able to extract the data. And finally, I'm going to extract total. And this is of type number as well. So to save, and I'm going to save this again. You can see that if I will full screen, you can see here within my glass industry group, there is a category invoice, and within this invoice category, I am having my one document of services. I will just close this taxonomy manager, and we are done with taxonomy.
Smith, this is quite interesting. So for me as a layman, can I understand this? If I have HR as the main category and payroll as a group, and in that all the invoices or whatever the type of invoices I get, can I define there, right?
Yes, absolutely. So you can
And
actually have multiple categories and multiple documents defined here.
okay, so instead of having a XAML created for each type of document, I simply define here, right?
Absolutely. So this is the best part of using Taxonomy Manager, that now you don't have to create separate workflows for separate type of document. You only need to define all of those document structure within this particular Taxonomy Manager.
Oh, that's good. And it will help me to define multiple in this. So it could be services, it could be payroll, it could be employee personal data, or his documents, everything I can put in here and extract or just name the fields that I wanted to get from the document.
Correct. Because whatever field you actually define here, these will act as a, you can say, a structure for rest of the activities that we are going to use. So rest of the activities are actually going to refer to this taxonomy, and they will automatically know that, okay, the developer is trying to extract only these three fields. So we are going to focus on extraction of these fields only. Okay.
Super.
Okay, so I will hit on close, and we are done with loading our taxonomy. Let's go back to our slides, and let's perform the step number 1, which is load taxonomy. So if we go back to UiPath, I will add a sequence here. And let's add an activity, load taxonomy. Okay, so all you have to do here, also one more thing that I would like to show you, that here, if I will refresh my project folder, you can see that a document processing folder has been created. And within this, you can see a taxonomy.json has been added. So in order to load this taxonomy.json, what I have done is I have placed an activity of load taxonomy, and I'm going to create a variable here. Let's name this taxonomy underscore back. Okay, so now my taxonomy is available in this particular variable. Let's go ahead and see what is the step 2. Step 2 is to digitize this document. So the activity that we are using is digitize document activity. And here I have to point to the document that I want to digitize. So let's do it by navigating to that document. And since I'm going to use this thing a lot, so I'm going to define a variable for it. And let's add path here. Okay. Also, you can see here, I am having I have to define what is the output of this activity. Output of this activity is essentially document text, which is digitized text. And document object model. We will be discussing about document object model in a while. And now what I have to do is I have to place a OCR engine here, because we are going to use OCR activities to digitize this particular document. So I'm going to use Omni page OCR. You can use whatever OCR you feel your document is returning the best results with. I have found that for this particular document, Omni page OCR works the best. Okay, so now let's see the next step. Next step is we have to decide what type of extractor do we want to use. And now let's talk about Regex Extractor. In Regex Extractor, we are going to use regex in order to extract the data that we need. Also, Regex Extractor should be used for somewhat structured documents. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, since I know that I have to specify regex for my fields, I need to see what data is this particular activity, which is digitized document activity, returning. Okay, after digitization. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to partially save this data in a particular text file. And let's name this text file as.
So Smith, instead of our legacy Microsoft OCR and Google OCR, we're using the Omni page. It's another OCR engine, right?
Absolutely, this is another OCR engine, and like this works quite well with this particular activity of digitized document.
Good.
Okay, now before running this workflow, let's talk about document object model and what it exactly contains. Document object model essentially contains the information about the structure of your document. Okay, so it contains pages. In pages, it contains page index and size of that particular page, length of that page. It also contains sections, word groups, word position, and also where that particular word exists within that particular document. So you can think of DOM as, you can compare DOM to a particular HTML DOM, and it is having the entire structure of that document, where like header, footer, where a table exists, where does a paragraph exist. And this particular data will be used by some other activities that we are going to discuss today in order to do its processing. So this is DOM. And let's do one thing. Let's run this workflow and analyze the data that we are going to get via this. So let's run this. And I have activated slow steps so that I will be able to explain to you like what is happening. So currently we have loaded the taxonomy and we are digitizing the document. Keep in mind, digitizing the time taken by an OCR to digitize a document is directly proportional to the number of pages that you are having in the document. Currently, I'm only having one page. But if you were having 50 pages, then it would have taken 50 times as much time it took right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this, and this is the digitized data. Let's see if I'm getting, if the data that I want is available here. Okay, so I want invoice number. Let's see. Okay, you can see invoice number is available here. So it was extracted correctly. Due date was extracted correctly, and total was extracted correctly. So I now know that OmniPage OCR is working fine for this. What I'm going to do is let's minimize this. And I know I don't need this particular write text activity anymore. It was just required to, you can say, analyze whether this particular OmniPage OCR is working fine or not. Now what we are going to do is let's check the next step. I have to go back a bit. The next step is to use data extraction scope with regex based extractor. So
Smith, does this mean I don't want that entire document information? I only want few. That's when the data extraction scope comes in play?
absolutely. So
Okay.
essentially, you can see that using this particular write text activity, I was able to get all of this data. But when I only require a certain amount of data that I've defined in my taxonomy manager, we can use data extraction scope to extract only that particular data. And we will be seeing how, we will be discussing how that particular data is identified. Okay. So let's add document path here. Let's add our taxonomy variable here. Also, let's add document text, which is digitized text, document object model, DOM, and let's all now. Here are two things which are currently blank. One is classification result, and another one is document type ID. Both of these fields are actually used to like identify what document we are exactly processing. Okay, document type ID, we are going to use document type ID as of now, and document type ID will point to specific document that we are going to use. Okay, how do we specify the value of document type ID? Just navigate to project, open taxonomy.json, and within here you will see there is a field of document type ID, and just copy the value from here and paste the value in document type ID. That's it. Through this, and please note this because this thing is going to be important in like rest of the extractors, that through this we are pointing to this particular document type only. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, since we are extracting the data via regex based extractor, I'm going to use regex based extractor, place it here, and now I have to define expressions. I will click on configure expressions, and here you can see that I have got three options of invoice, due date, and total. These options are being picked up from my taxonomy file only. Let's quickly edit, click on edit, and extract the data that we need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my digitized data text file, copy this and paste it here. We are doing this because we need to know where, how, what regular expression do we have to define in order to extract the data. So first thing that we are extracting is invoice. So let's quickly define a regular expression for this. And please keep in mind the regular expression shown here might not be the best one, but for demo purpose, it will work.
So Smith, you go ahead. In general, the audience, for the people who are practicing, they'll go ahead here and define the regex, which suits the output that they wanted to extract, correct?
Correct.
Oh, cool.
Okay, now you can see that the invoice number has been highlighted, and just for like verifying whether something else has also been highlighted or not, I'm going to scroll through the entire data, and as you can see, nothing else is being highlighted. Now what we are going to do is just hit on capture, and you can see this has been turned yellow. So what we mean by this is we are going to capture this field now and hit on save. We have defined the regex expression for invoice. Same thing we are going to do for rest of the fields. So let's add this, and the next field that we want to extract is due date. So here is due date. Let's extract this. Again, this might not be the best expression available, but it will work. Just hit on capture, and before this, verify if anything else is being selected. No, nothing else has been selected. Just hit on save. Okay, now we have to extract total. Paste the data here. Okay, let's define a regular expression for this as well. Okay, now you can see that this particular regular expression, like 2 items have been selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to define some other field that it needs to check to validate this data. And as you can see here, now only single field is being selected and it looks fine. So we are going to save this, and I'm going to click on save. Okay, so we have defined the regular expressions that we are going to use, and now what we have to do is we have to click on configure extractors. What this is going to do is this is going to bring up all of the extractors that we are using. Currently, we are only using a regular regex based extractor. We will expand the document that is in question here, and we can actually specify what exact data do we want to extract. Okay, so currently I want to extract everything, but you can think like if in future requirement changes, you can actually uncheck the data here. And in spite of this invoice number being defined in taxonomy, this data won't be extracted. Okay, so I will, for now, I will check it and I will hit on save. So this data extraction scope has been configured. Let's load our workflow again. And the next step is to add a present validation station. So let's quickly search for present validation station. Let's drop it here. And here, what we have to do is we have to define simple fields. Document path, document text is digitized text. Document object model is DOM. Taxonomy is taxonomy. And automatic extraction result. These are the results that were generated. If I will go back here, I think I missed to do, yeah, I missed to describe an output variable for this. So define an output variable for this, which is raw extraction results. We are calling this raw extraction results because these are the results that were extracted by, you can say, our data by regex with the help of regular expressions. But it's quite possible they might fail. That's why we are having this present validation station here. And through this, we can actually validate the data that we are getting. So this is the raw extraction results, and here I'm going to pass a variable or define a variable human validated results. So it is going to return to me only the only those results that have been validated by humans. Those can be the same results that were extracted or something else. So let's do one thing. Let's just run the workflow till here, and then we will see how to exactly extract the data and save it somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this. Again, since we have turned on slow step, each and every activity will be shown in action. So, okay, we have loaded taxonomy. It is being, the document is being digitized as of now. And we are in data extraction scope. The data has been extracted, and now what you are going to see is present validation station or just validation station being popped up, and it is going to ask us whether the data that I have extracted is correct or not. Okay, as of now, you can see that it was able to extract invoice number and due date. It was able to extract invoice number and due date successfully. If you will click on any of the fields, you can see here that how that it was actually able to extract. It is actually highlighting that from where it extracted the data from, and here as well it is highlighting the correct field. The total has not been extracted. It's quite possible that it was not extracted because of some error in regular expressions. We will analyze that. But what we can do now is, since we know that this field is my total, so I'm just going to click on this and I'm going to click on add here. Okay, so you can see that now total has been added here. I'm going to click on save, and all of the document, all of the data has been extracted. Okay.
So, Ismail,
Yes.
just to add here, so this is something interesting. So even before I process, I take a data from an invoice or from any document and give it for the processing, I can validate. Is
Correct.
this okay?
Absolutely correct.
So this may avoid my lots of exceptions, which if the data is wrongly extracted, I don't need to, really bother. I can simply change the
Absolutely.
value here. It
Yeah.
changes my real data, correct?
Correct. So we just saw it right here that due to a faulty regular expression, our data was not extracted correctly. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let's replace it with this one. Okay, I hope the data will be extracted now. Otherwise, we always have present validation station to correct the things that have been missed by our bot. Okay,
Super.
so now let's see what is going to be the next step. After present validation session, we have to export the human validated results. So we will go back and we are going to use export extraction results. Here I'm going to provide human validated results and the data set that we are going to get. Okay, so let me define a variable first. And now let's talk about what is the meaning of this step. When you get this particular, whenever you get some output in the form of extraction results, okay, if you will see here, the data type of human validated results is extraction result. It is not only having the data that we requested, but it is also having some metadata. Metadata is essentially containing the confidence of OCR, from where exactly the data was extracted, from which page number the data was extracted from, and stuff like that. And in order to actually process the data, we don't require all of that stuff. That's why we are using export extraction result, which give us a data set, and this data set is nothing but a collection of data tables. Okay, so let's do one thing now. Let's add a for each loop here. And as I told you, well, okay, so first thing that we are going to do is we are going to extract all of the tables that are present within this data set. Let's change the alias name to table. And let's also change the type argument to data table. Okay, now within this, I'm going to add a write range. Okay, I think I have to add Excel activities as well. Just 1 second. Okay, so let's go back and use workbook activities to save our data. So my workbook path name is regex output data.xlss. Let's keep the sheet name dynamic by defining table.table name. This is going to actually return. So what it is going to do is it is going to replace the current sheet name with the table name that our particular data table is having. And let's write table here. Okay, so let's run our workflow. Also, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this stop slow step. Okay, the data has not been extracted for this part, but what you can see here is I have successfully extracted invoice and due date. Also, one more thing, if you will click on any field, you will be seeing a formatted version of that particular field. Okay, if I will click on date, you can see that here is the formatted version of that table. So we can expect two data tables from our, in like you can say in our output. The first data table is containing, you can say the first data table is containing the raw value, and the second data table will be containing the formatted value. Let's do one more thing. Let's click on total and add it here. You can see it is very simple to simply like add something or fix something here. I can also type that value here. It's not a big deal, and I will hit on save. Okay, the processing has been done, and I just remember I made one mistake. I never checked on add headers, but nonetheless, let's open up the document.
Smith, don't worry, that's a universal mistake.
Let's open up the document and let's see what data did we get. Okay, so you can see that here is the data, and like this is if they were like the we will run this particular workflow again for another document, but for now you can probably see that this is my invoice number, due date, and amount that needs to be paid. Same thing, but now in a formatted way. You can say this is the invoice number, formatted due date, and formatted amount to be paid. Okay, so this is good for one document. What about if I want to process it for some other document? So within my documents, you can see that there is another document available here, which is with the name of scan invoice underscore 2. If I will open this up, you will be seeing that the value of due date is a bit different in this, and the value of total is also different. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to change the name here to underscore 2. And let's run this workflow.
So Smith, if my document matches to the taxonomy structure, I simply
Yes.
use it and run it for all, right?
Absolutely. Now, the key thing to note here is we are actually currently forcing, okay, we are using taxonomy, we are actually forcing this data extraction scope to work on that particular taxonomy. Okay, irrespective of how many taxonomy files we have defined, we have, okay, let's firstly validate the data here. And you can see this thing was not working already, but you can see that new date has been extracted perfectly fine. I can actually click here. You can see that it is actually detecting this particular field. I can click on plus here. So the data has been extracted via this as well. And invoice number was already being extracted. Also, one more thing that I want to point out is you can see document type available here. This document type is nothing but it is the, you can say, it is how it is a representation of what document exactly my data extraction scope has detected. Since I have since I have defined, let me save and let me run this workflow to its entirety. Now, since I have hard coded this value of like document type ID in here, it was showing 100% value within my present validation station. We will be showing how to actually let data extraction scope dynamically select the document after this. So let me just open up the regex output data here. And you can see here the data that we wanted to extract is available and it is perfect. Okay. Okay, so this was regex based extractor. Now what we are going to do is, I don't save this. Now what we are going to do is we have talked about DOM as well. Now we are going to use form extractor. So form extractor is essentially is a type of extractor that uses the position of a particular word to extract the data. Okay, so for example, if you talk about any generic form which is available like in the market, such as Form 13 or your SIM card filling form, SIM card application form, those are having most of the time they're having a proper structure. Okay, and you can actually define the area in a particular document where you are expecting the your particular field that you want to extract to be available. Okay, so due to this particular extractor should be used for those documents which are having a very fixed format, such as most of the application forms are having a very fixed format, most of the invoices are having a very fixed format, so we can use this particular form extractor for that purpose. Okay, also one more thing, when we are dealing with form extractor, we have to deal with something which is called templates. We will look at templates just in some moments. Just know that we have to define some template, and we can define multiple templates for a given document. And if best out of those templates will be selected. So I will be coming back to this slide, but let's go back and let's make some change to this workflow. So only change that I have to make in order to incorporate form extractor here is just to delete this regex based extractor. And guys, don't worry, you will be getting 3 different workflows of regex, ML and form based extractor. Just keeping the time in mind, I am quickly replacing the stuff here. Form based extractor. I'm going to place form extractor here. Now you can see here, endpoint is already defined. This is the default endpoint provided by UiPath. And now I have to define API key. You can get your API key. Just 1 second. You can get your API key by going to platform.uipath.com. And within this, you have to navigate to licenses and other services and copy the document understanding API key. Okay, go back here and paste the API key in here. It is done. So now I have to define the define the templates. You can also, if you have already defined templates, or if someone else have defined the template for you, you can actually import the template. But as of now, I'm going to create a template here. As you can see in document type ID, it is picking up from my taxonomy. I defined a document of services. I have to define a template name. Let's give the template name temporary. And now I have to give a I have to provide the document that we are going to process. Okay, or just a template document. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to provide my scanned invoice. Okay, the OCR has been selected, and one thing to notice is there is an option of force apply OCR. What do we mean by this is, let's just say that if you are providing a native document or a document in which you can actually select some text, what this particular thing is going to do is it is actually going to detect that this is a native document and I don't have to apply any OCR to extract the text from this. So it is going to process exactly similar, it is going to extract the data just like read PDF activity. If you click on this particular option here, it is going to apply OCR on that, and you might want to do it if your OCR, if your you can say document is having text as well as images. Since I know that the document that I have provided is an scanned document, I don't have to check this because OCR will be used. I just have to click on configure. So it is currently digitizing the document. It is the same operation as we did in digitized document activity. I will just close this. I will be explaining what you have to do next. So this is the document, and if you want to see how it digitized it, you can simply click on this option here, and this is the digitized option, the digitized version of the document. Okay, so I will go back to the document, and you can see that I am actually able to highlight what fields are available here. Guys, this is the feature of DOM, or document object model. Document object model can actually contain the, you can say, position of each and every text field which is available on your document. So the first step that you have to do is define what page are you working on. Your document might have multiple pages. So you must define that what page are you exactly working on. And since I am having only one page here, so I only have to like define the, you can say, validity of this particular page. And for doing that, we have to choose 5 distinct fields from this particular document. So I'm going to choose these fields, which I think are unique, build to. Okay, so these are 5 fields that I have chosen. I will hit on this particular plus icon, which is going to extract the value from this particular field. Okay, so this is done. Now I have to extract the invoice number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this particular option, which is selection mode, and I'm going to drag over my invoice number. If you will carefully notice, okay, let me do one thing. Carefully notice this. I dragged over this invoice number. Say, is the picture visible?
Yeah, but too close. It's too much of zoom, I believe.
Yeah, actually, this is intended. So you can see here that when I dragged over this particular field, the text got highlighted. It means that we are able to extract this particular text through this area. Okay. And if I will go back here, you can see that the text is still highlighted. I just have to click on custom area and select the field in which I want to, or to which I want to map this area to. So I want to map this to invoice number. I have to do same thing for due date. Just keep in mind for now that the due date is having 2016. Okay. And what I have to do now is I have to extract my total. So I will drag over this custom area and I will add to total. So extraction part is done now. I will just hit on save. It has saved my document. And now it is giving me some extra options of like I can actually specify synonyms of yes, because in most of the document that we work on, we don't have yes, we have some checkboxes or stuff like that. Since we are not using it, we are not going to specify anything here, but we can actually click on add recommended to add the recommended fields. So we have created a document. Use this option to edit that document once more, but for now, I will just close it. And I'm going to configure extractors. Same thing that we did with with our, you can say, regular expression-based extractor. Let's select everything that I want to extract everything from here. Also, one more thing. Since we are using, you can say, somewhat of ML for extracting this particular thing, we can actually define what is the minimum confidence level after which we want to extract the data. For example, if the minimum confidence level I define here is 80, so if OCR is having a minimum confidence level of 80%, only then that data, or only then this particular data will be extracted. If any of the field is having a confidence level less than 80, the data won't be extracted. I'm just going to leave it to 0, hit on save, and the configuration is done. Okay, but keep in mind that here currently I'm only pointing on one document only, and we are going to change it soon. But let's just do one thing. Let's change the result to form output data, add headers straight, and let's run this file.
This is even interesting. So if I build it once, I don't need to do any changes to the code. Only the extractor has to be replaced.
Absolutely. If you have built, like you can say that, okay, let me go back here. This is your skeleton. This is the generic workflow. You just have to build this workflow and you just have to replace the extractors here. That's it. And you can even define extractors parallelly. That is the beauty of it.
So which means whichever is giving me the best result, I'll pick it, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh. Okay, so here you can see that since we specifically defined document type ID, document identification was 100%, and invoice was 91%, due date was 91, and similarly total was 91%. And now total field has also been extracted. But I told you to keep in mind that due date was 2016. So why I told you to do that? Because this is the another document that we have defined. if you remember, while explaining regular regex based extraction, we changed the document name to point to some other document. So we used one document for that form based extractor can work on multiple documents as well when we are working with it. Okay. So what I am going to do is, since I can see that the data that has been extracted is perfectly fine, I'm just going to hit on save and continue. If I will go back to UiPath, my workflow is over now. I'm going to open my project, and let's do one thing. Let's reduce these dependencies, taking too much space, and let's open up for output data. So here you can see that I am able to extract the data successfully. All of the data that I required is here. And here is the formatted version of that particular data as well. You can see date is now in a very formatted way, written in a very formatted way. Total is also correct and invoice number is also correct. Okay, back to one thing that I was mentioning, that why the document identification was always 100%. It was because of the fact that we actually defined document type ID, and we are actually pointing to a specific document only within my taxonomy. If I will open up my taxonomy, you can see here, there is a specific, I am pointing to this particular document. Let's close this one. This is an array, and we are only pointing to this particular document. Let's just say that if there were multiple documents, how do we tackle this? If within my taxonomy, I have defined the structure of multiple documents. How do we tackle this? Well, in order to tackle this, we have to actually define something to identify the document that we are using. Okay, and for that, we are going to use classifiers. Okay. So let's go back here and let's search for classifier. And here, the first activity that we need to drop is classify document scope. Here we need to provide the typical, you can say, typical parameters of document path, taxonomy, document text, which is digitized text, DOM, and output is classification results. Now I have to drop classifiers here. So just keep in mind that there can be multiple types of classifiers which you can use. But for now, within UiPath, you are having keyword-based classifier. So essentially, what you are doing is you are essentially generating tokens for your given document. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to specify the document path here, and since now it is done, I'm going to hit on manage. Okay. We don't have to specify a document path. We actually have to specify where the output of this keyword-based specifier will be saved. The output is saved in a, you can say, in a JSON file. So I'm going to quickly, seeing the time, I'm just going to quickly map it to, I'm going to change this name to keyword.json. Okay, so this is the new document which will be created. Within my document processing folder, a keyword.json document will be created. I have to hit on manage learning. Within this, you can see that within taxonomy, I defined services as my file name. I have to add keywords which will be used to identify this particular document. So let's open this particular, you can say, document, and let's extract some keywords. So first keyword that I want to use is invoice hash. The next keyword that I want to use is, let's say, due date. The next keyword that I want to use is total. These are the exact same keywords. You can obviously define more keywords, but for now, I think 3 keywords are fine. And this will actually show the point that I want to make. And here, what you can do is you can actually just delete this. And also one more thing, if I will hit on configure classifiers, I have to select on which classifier I want to use. That's it. The classification result is actually an array of classification result. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the first iteration of it. If you are not getting perfect result, like in this case we are going to see, you can actually use the other available iterations of this particular classifier array. Okay, so let's run this workflow once more and let's see what difference do we get in the present validation station. So let's do one thing. Let's enable this so that we can see where we exactly are. We are at present validation station. And here you can see that this is the thing that I was talking about. When we were using taxonomies, you can say document type ID. I think I have closed it. Here it is. Document type ID. I was specifically pointing to one document only. But when I made this thing dynamic, that I want it to like point to that particular document which are having these fields. You can see that now the document type identification dropped drastically to 59%. Okay. Nonetheless, we were able to successfully determine what type of document we are using and extract the data related to it. We are going to hit on save, and that's it. We are writing the data, and same data has been written in our Excel file. Okay, so now with that done, I want to explain one more field, which is minimum overlap percentage. This is a property of form extractor. So if you remember, what I did was I simply dragged over the area from which I want to extract the data from. Okay, so minimum overlap percentage, let me show you an example. So if I will click here, you can see that this is the area that I selected manually. Okay, but obviously bot will also select, or bot will also judge some area where the data could be present, and it will look for the overlap. What is the overlap? Let me show you. This is the form-based extractor, and this is overlap. Okay, so if green part is the area that I selected, and if the red part is the area bot has selected for the extraction of the, you can say, data, if there is an overlap of, like by default, there should be an overlap of around 65%, so that data could be extracted from this field. And how do I know this? You just have to click on this particular activity, and you can see it here. By default, it's 65%. You can reduce it if you're not getting the desired results, or increase it if you only want to get the like exact data which is available. Okay, so if this overlap is 65%, then only the data will be extracted using form-based extractor for that particular field. Otherwise, data won't be extracted. So this is just one good thing which is available in form-based extractor. And I think we are done with form-based extractor. Also, now that we have discussed about template, so you can see that we have to configure template in order to extract the data that we want. And for a given document, if we have specified more than one template, then best out of those two templates or three templates, the best one will be selected. Now, as you saw that some kind of API calls were being made. So in community endpoint, the requests are limited to 50 per hour. Okay, now if you exceed this amount of requests, then what will probably happen is you will be blocked for 1 hour. And then you, after that 1 hour, you can probably continue using this form extractor. Okay, so since we are done with form extractor, the next thing that we have to pick up is orchestrator validation option. Before that, are there any questions?
So far the chat looks good, Ismet.
Okay, that's great. And okay, let's move ahead. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain to you how we can actually remove this particular validation station and move this thing to orchestrator. Okay, so for that, first thing that you need to make sure is that your orchestrator is connected. So just a simple check. Okay, I think we can verify from here as well that the orchestrator is connected. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to search for validation station. And here I am having two activities. One is create validation action. So we are going to pick this one up first. Action title is nothing but what will user see when an action is created. So I can say form extraction validation. Okay, now I have to specify the document path, then document text, document object model, taxonomy, and then automatic extraction results. This is, by this we mean that we need to specify the raw results that were extracted with the help of activities. Okay, now on the left hand side, I can actually specify the priority of this particular task. This is something that we will be seeing. And I can actually specify, you can say, storage details. Okay, so what I can do is I can specify the bucket name. And for that, I need to log into my service. I'm going to go back to service. I'm loading this particular Ishmeet Bindra service. And within here, if I will click on storage buckets, my bucket, the bucket that I created for this purpose is test_bucket. So I will copy this and paste the bucket name here. And it is also asking me for, it is also asking for the bucket folder path. So here, my folder is, I think I'm in, yeah, here you can see that I'm in default folder. So I'm simply going back to UiPath and defining here default. That's it. Also, I need to get the action output. So this is going to be my action_1 because I'm specifying one action. I think I have specified everything. So let's do one thing now. Let's wait for this action. Okay, so what this activity is going to do is, this activity is actually going to upload all of the documents, all of the, you can say, extracted results to Orchestrator. And what we saw in present validation session, an exact screen will be visible in UiPath Orchestrator's action portion. Okay, we will be seeing that soon. But for now, I have to specify action object input here, which is action_1. This is nothing but this is just a variable to keep a track of like what action is it exactly waiting for. So for example, you can probably create multiple actions and we have to tell this particular activity that what action you are waiting to be complete. So I will leave this the download folder path blank. What I want to do is I want to remove the file that has been uploaded to, you can say, Orchestrator to be deleted. So I'm checking this output. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to validate the validated extraction results. These are the outputs that we are getting. So I'm going to specify human validated results because ultimately some human will go to Orchestrator and validate the results. Document paths. So document path is this, digitized text, DOM, taxonomy. And I think we don't have to provide automatic extraction results. Okay, the DOM. Okay, that's great. This is done. And now now rest of the stuff, as you can see, has already been configured. Whatever human validated output, human validated result will be achieved or will be received by this particular activity will be passed on to my export extraction results. And finally will be fed to right range activity. Okay. So let's run this workflow and let's see step by step what exactly is happening. So the taxonomy has been loaded. Now we are digitizing the document. Once that is done, we will go ahead and specify the classifiers, perform an extraction via form extractor, and finally create a validation action on Orchestrator. At this point of time, all of the documents are being uploaded to the storage bucket within my Orchestrator. Okay. You just have to wait for that particular action to be completed. And if you are really keen, you can see that my upload speed is also increasing. Okay, that is done now. And now we are actually waiting for that particular action to be completed. You can see in the logs as well, in the output screen, that it has actually suspended my workflow. If I will hit on resume, it will do nothing but just wait for that particular action to be completed. Now I want to clear this out right away, that when you are going to deploy this stuff in production, you don't have to click anywhere. Since I'm debugging this workflow, I have to hit on resume. If I would have ran this workflow, nothing like this would have happened. Okay, so let me go back to my orchestrator, and I'm going to click on my actions here. And right away, what you are going to see is a few seconds ago, this particular action was created. Forget about these. I just want to talk about this particular action, which was created a minute ago. Okay, farm extraction validation, everything is fine. I'm just going to click here, click on assign to self and open. And what you are going to see is this particular item will be assigned to me, and a similar screen. Okay, if I will go full screen here, this is essentially a similar screen which is available on orchestrator. This is a similar screen which was available to us on our attended bot or on present validation station. So I can perform the same changes. I can just click on any particular field here. That field will get highlighted, indicating from where it has extracted the value from. Due date, I will just click on this, and everything is fine, I think. And this total is also fine. So I will just click on save, continue and save. And now what will happen is UiPath orchestrator will actually communicate this information back to my workflow. And if this would have been running, you would have seen that this would have automatically continued. But we are going to hit on resume. And since we received our input, since we received everything, we are just going to go ahead and write this data out. And that's it. That's how you actually, you can say, use the validation station or upload your data to orchestrator to be processed. Okay, let me open up the farm extractor. Let us verify that we got the data that we need. Yeah, we got the data. This data has been validated on orchestrator in formatted one as well. The data has been validated and the data is correct. So, yes, sir.
This just to make our audience understand, and some layman like me. So this particular thing, the present validation, the validation being pushed to orchestrator, is just to ensure my business users, my process people, to validate and close it without a studio or a robot installed in their machine. Correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. So just think about it. If you are running this process on unattended, like in an unattended mode, you don't want like this present validation station. You don't want to be using present validation station. This is a better alternative to that present validation station, that you can actually, you can say, create an action on orchestrator, and someone with write access. Keep in mind, like if you will go to orchestrator, you can actually assign proper access to people on this particular orchestrator, and someone with write access can simply click on assign to self and open, and then start processing and then validate the data, and then send it back to my unattended bot so that it can start its processing. Okay.
That's cool. It's something like human in loop again.
Correct. Also, one more thing that I want to mention here is the sequence that, or the process that I have used here is orchestration process. In order to create any task or anything or any action which is related to orchestrator, you must be using orchestration process as of now. Okay, because if I will go to manage packages, you can see this particular package is responsible for creating actions or tasks to orchestrator. Okay, and apparently this thing doesn't work on your normal process as of now. So it is just a heads up that you need UiPath persistent activities to be available, and UiPath persistent activities are available in orchestration process. Another thing that I noticed where I was getting an error in, like in order to use storage buckets, you have to head to users, and within this you have to go to roles, and you have to assign proper authority to your bot. Okay, not to administrator, not to anyone else, but to your bot, because at the end of the day, bot is uploading something. Just hit on manage you. Okay, sorry. Just hit on edit there. And here, what you are going to see is a couple of roles. Right now, what I've done is I've just checked everything because I want my bot to be able to perform everything. And here in folder permissions, you can see that here is the storage bucket. For you, it will just be view only. Okay. But what you have to do is you have to check everything. So when you are trying to implement this solution, just keep in mind that this is like a kind of error that you can get. And this is something that you want to do before developing it. Okay, so let's go back to our slides and let's see what exactly is remaining. Okay, now comes ML extractor. So ML extractor are used for those documents in which there is no fixed structure. So some of the invoices and some of the receipts, like restaurant receipts, are not having any structure. So in order to extract data from those particular documents, we are having ML extractor, and which use some of the machine learning tools which are provided by UiPath to extract the data from those particular documents. In order to use these models, we have to install this particular package, which is document understanding package, which we already did. We are having two endpoints available to us. One is for receipts and one is for invoices. Okay. As of now, only these two type of documents you can actually process with some confidence, but more will be added in future. Okay, and then there are some limitations as well, that you can only upload a particular document that are having 2 pages that are having 2 pages and less than, and the size is less than 4 MB. Also, you are limited to 50 requests per hour, which is similar to the amount of requests that you get in form-based extractor. Okay, so let's go back to UiPath and let's see where do we have to modify. And also let's do one thing. Let's delete this. Let's reactivate our present validation station. And this is our form extractor. So we just have to delete form extractor. And guys, it is as simple as just removing one extractor and replacing it with some other one. So I will search for ML extractor. Machine learning extractor. And I have to agree to this. And here I have to specify the endpoint. Now, since I know that I'm processing some invoice, so I will just copy this invoice endpoint and paste it here. What it is going to do is, it is going to get the capabilities. Capabilities are nothing but, okay, it is done. Okay, so capabilities are essentially nothing but fields that can be extracted for any given invoice. It doesn't matter what type of invoice you are providing. ML extractor is able to detect some fields which are present in any invoice, such as due date, total amount to be paid, name, and stuff like that. We will be seeing what exact fields which are available within ML extractor. But right now, just by specifying our endpoint, we have extracted those particular options for us. The next step is to specify the API key, and what we have to do the same thing. We have to go back to our automation cloud. Within here, we have to go to licenses and copy the same key from other services. Okay, document understanding key. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply paste it here, and the configuration is done. Like if you have noticed it, like in my regex based extractor, I had to actually specify the regular expression. In my form based extractor, at this particular point of time, I had to actually specify the area. But in my machine learning extractor, I just have to specify the API key. And if I will hit on configure extractors, scroll full screen, expand this, you can see that there are some drop downs which are available here. If I will hit on drop downs, these are the capabilities that I was talking about. These are the generic capabilities that UiPath offers to be extracted from any given invoices. Okay, so here, since I want to extract invoice number, I think invoice number is a good candidate. Due date, let's see if there is some due date field available here. Yeah, here is due date. And in total, I want to extract total. That's it. It is as simple as just selecting something from drop down. And as you can see here, I didn't I have not defined anything extra apart from just selecting the fields that I want to extract from this particular document. My machine learning extractor is having no knowledge of like what type of document I'm providing in. And okay, let's run this workflow. But before that, let's change this to ML extractor.
So Smith, just meanwhile the bot is running. So this is the complete capability of the machine learning from UiPath is going to do our work. I'm not telling what to extract.
Absolutely. I'm just telling like I want this data from this particular document, but I'm not
Okay.
telling how to extract it.
Perfect.
In
Perfect. So
Regex, I was specifying how by defining regular expressions. In form-based, I was specifying how by defining areas. But in ML, I'm not specifying how. It is ML
yeah,
models.
super. So the capabilities of machine learning is given to our bot. Our bot has learned a new skill, I mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see here, even though we never defined, like how do we have to extract the data, ML model was able to extract all of the data that we wanted with a pretty high accuracy. You can see that its accuracy is 98%, total's accuracy is 98%, and that is pretty good for a particular document whose structure we have, like whose you can say, how to extract field we have not specified. And just by with the help of some ML model, we are able to extract the field that we need. Just hit on save and continue, and data is going to be written in the same way as before in our Excel file. Let's open our Excel file, push this, it is here. So you can see here, data has been document understanding. Also, document understanding as of now supports a couple of languages like English. I think it also supports Spanish as well. And more language supports will be added in the future. Okay, with that, we are done with the presentation. Okay, so are there any questions related to this?
Smith, probably we have covered everything. Let's see what comes there in the chat box. Give me a minute, I'm checking it.
Okay, so Ram Prasad is asking like how to handle document type ID for different PDF files. Okay, so this is what I explained. Like this is what I meant by, this is why I am saying that you should be using, let me close this thing. This is why I suggested you to use classifiers. Okay, because whenever you use document type ID, let me go up, whenever you are using document type ID, you are only pointing to a single document. That's why the ability to identify document was always 100%. But when you use classifiers, you can actually, if I will click on manage learning, you can actually specify keywords for multiple documents. Okay, what do we mean by this is that now out of all of those documents and all of those keywords, the best one will be selected. It's not like we have specified anything specific here. We are giving classification results a full chance to determine what document we are working with. Okay.
Yeah, just to add here, so this classifiers has the ability to learn. We can train this as well, and the percentage of its confidence can be increased as well.
Yeah,
Smith, we
absolutely.
have one more question. Is it possible to extract the data table from a PDF using this?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want me to show that?
The time of interest, the answer is yes, but we will be sharing you. It takes pretty more time. We already late. So the answer is yes, and we'll be sharing you how to do it in
Yeah,
the.
we can actually do it
Yeah.
with the help of same activities that we have. But again, there is some time of interest. Otherwise,
Using can we pick handwritten using the ML model, that the capabilities that we have in hand?
Absolutely, we can do it using ML model, but what I would suggest you to do is use intelligent form extractor.
So guys, the answer for the handwritten is please use the fourth extractor, which is intelligent form OCR extractor.
Okay, through this you can actually achieve really good results. Okay.
Yes, for fixed, use the same. For unfixed, use ML extraction or intelligent OCR extraction.
Yeah.
I hope the questions, how will it handle title and rotated title? How will it handle title and rotated titles?
Okay, let me go back to my slide here. You can see in DOM here, you can see that DOM is actually having information about language and rotation. So if your document is having some kind of skew, DOM is going to know about it and it is going to pass that information to extractor so that that thing can be dealt with.
So though the name looked very short, okay, the DOM is very, very powerful in this entire.
Absolutely. DOM is actually, this is just an abbreviation. It's called document object model. And it's as power, and it's really powerful. Like it's very, you can say that it's very useful to have.
Yep. Super cool. I believe the, I could say the questions are well handled. No more.
Okay.
Vibha, do you have something to speak?
No, I'm fine, Sain.
Cool. Guys, in the interest of time, we really thankful to each and every person who joined. We will be sharing the recording of the entire session soon through LinkedIn or YouTube. We have lots of webinars coming up from us. Please be aligned to every post which Vibha is sharing. Lots of learnings. That's it. Vibha, are we good to close?
Yeah, we have another session, I think, Thursday, which is accelerate your implementation with time with API integration. So in case you guys have link to join, do join that in case topic interests you. And yeah, in case you have any other needs, you can always share with me or Said, so we can work on that.
Perfect. Thanks, Vibha.
So
Thanks,
by any
Ishmit.
chance, Ishmit, you will also be sharing this PPT with everyone? Because I
Yes,
don't see much there in the, yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the entire detail on GitHub and I will be sharing that link.
Perfect.
Yep. Super cool. Thanks, everyone. Don't
Thank you
miss
so
our
much.
API integration session.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks, Ishmit. It was a really very good session.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ed.
Yes, sir. We'll share the links in a couple of hours.
Yeah, it will take some time no, before recording is available. So you might expect it by sometime tomorrow.
Yeah.
Super cool.